Football tomorrow, Saturday, November 25th. Hopefully you guys are able to watch this video before any bumps prior. I do have 5 good picks. Hopefully we can do like last week. We already hit 4 of 5 and we double up. I do have 4 props for fantasy and 1 for rushing yards. And let's get started with the first one, the rushing yards. And I'm actually going to take a QB, Peyton Thorne, Auburn's QB. Should be a primetime game against Alabama. I'm going to take him at 27.5. He's been averaging over 40. Should be a good game. I'm going to pass on his 155 pass yards. It was obviously my second option, but he's not much of a passer. He does run the ball a lot. His fantasy score is not up. That will probably be my first option, but I like his rushing yards. I think he's going to go over 40. I don't think he's going to get much of the passing game against Alabama. I think he's going to rush the ball. He's going to have more attempts on it, so I think he's going to go well over 27.5 yards. So I'm taking the more on that. Next 4 I have are fantasy scores, and we're going to go with the Daniel Jackson, and obviously he's a wide receiver. Minnesota's top wide receiver, going up against Wisconsin at 11.5. Been averaging about 14-15. He did have a stinker against Ohio State, but obviously Ohio State is one of the top teams in the country. But at 11.5, I think he's going to bounce back against Wisconsin and go off and have about 15 to 18 fantasy score points. I'll be taking the more on that. Next one is Drake May, and I'll be taking his fantasy score at 23.5. Been averaging about 25 to 28 in the past 7 games. Should be a good game. North Carolina against North Carolina State. Should be a semi-rivalry game, so I'll be taking Drake May to go off, and I'll have him going over. Next one we got is Will Howard at 17.5. Been averaging over 20, actually 23.4 in his last 5. But he's somewhere in the 20 range. I think this is going to get bumped to 18.5 closer to game time. So I'll be taking the over on the 17.5. He does average about 2 touchdowns a game, which is going to help his fantasy score. Thinking his passing touchdown, not a bad option for a secondary if you want to take it. But I think he's going to have over 2 touchdowns. But I'm going to take his fantasy score just for the fact that I think he's going to have over 200 yards. And I think he's going to blow past his 17.5. And my last one for fantasy score, I'm going to go with Rocco Bet at 12.5. Another QB. Taking the over on that at 12.5. Past 5, actually it's past 8. He has gone over 12.5 fantasy score. So hopefully it continues his trend. It's a pretty low fantasy score for a QB. Which I like, but I think it's going to get bumped to 13.5 closer to game time. But if he has a couple touchdown passes, he should usually clear this. He does average about over 200 yards a game. So if he has a couple touchdown passes, this should easily cash right here at 12.5. So those are the 5 I'll be going with for tomorrow's college football. Hopefully we get a 4 of 5 or a perfect slip. So Peyton Thorne over rushing yards, Daniel Jackson, Drake May, Will Howard, and Rocco Bet over fantasy scores. So mix and match, pick your favorite. Please like, subscribe, and comment. We're almost close to 8,000 subscribers. Appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.